Gauntlet Dark Legacy is a game that I, like many others, hold very dearly. It is a nostalgic symbol of my childhood, and one of my all-time favorites that I still revisit to this day. So of course I was thrilled to discover that not only am I not alone in feeling this way, but that some very dedicated Dark Legacy enjoyers are taking it a step further. I'm talking about a full modern remaster of Dark Legacy currently in development. And while this is a non-profit passion project, things are looking really good so far. In this video, we're going to take a close look at this remake and get up to date on the progress and state of the game. Note that I'll be referring to most of the developers by their Discord usernames throughout this video, as these are the names they are primarily known by in the Dark Legacy Remaster community. The initial idea for a remake of Gauntlet Dark Legacy came about in 2018 when Ada Sangiovanni created a Discord server dedicated to the project. While development wouldn't really start to take off until 2020, the Discord server became something of a magnet, attracting the most passionate members of the Dark Legacy fandom. The community that had grown in the server by 2020 inspired Ada to put together a team of developers to tackle the project. The first developers to join were Skyboy, Roach, and Mr. Chase. Skyboy's early contributions to the project were monumental. He put together the first debug room and all of the basic functionality the project required, while Ada provided the early 3D modeling. Their work laid the foundation for what the remake would become. Roach and Mr. Chase were recruited soon after, and also made huge contributions to the project in its early life. Roach took on the task of data mining Dark Legacy, providing far more accessible references for the original game's assets, and Mr. Chase assisted Skyboy with coding and blueprints, furthering the development of the game's assets and functionality. Today, the project's lead developers include Mr. Chase as lead coder, Veckin as lead 3D modeler, and Roach, who continues data mining the original game with new tools and support. Ada oversees the developers in a directorial role, while making contributions to textures, UI art, and 3D models. Additionally, there are several other developers contributing to the remake, such as concept artist Reddy Joe, music producer Geisha Poole, and Jesh, who is responsible for writing the majority of the game's expanded lorebook, the Book of Bennett's. It's also worth mentioning that there are in fact some developers from the original Dark Legacy present in the Discord server, including KJ Holm, who has been providing support and insight to the project's developers. You're probably asking yourself, what is the legal status of this remake? Well, after Midway went bankrupt in 2009, the rights to its titles, including Gauntlet Dark Legacy, were transferred to Warner Brothers, and because the Dark Legacy trademark was not used for 3+ years, the status of the trademark has been labeled as abandoned. Essentially, this means that as of now, the remake is in the clear, but it's important to note that the trademark can still be bought again and activated at any time. So we'll just have to keep our fingers crossed that if this happens, the new trademark holder will be on board with the remake. As far as the remaster's development progress goes, there is quite a lot that can be said, but I'm going to try and stick to the highlights in the interest of providing the best representation of the game's overall development path. As I mentioned before, the remaster's development really took off in 2020, when Ada and Skyboy developed the game's first 3D models and core systems, such as movement and basic combat functions. The first character, the Red Warrior, was also implemented into the game along with a new feature, dodging, which replaced the original game's strafing. This is the first example of a real change to any of the original Dark Legacy's features, and while it is a minor change, I think it says a lot about the developers' intentions with the remaster. It shows that they are willing to make adjustments in the interest of improving gameplay, but are clearly taking caution that they don't shy away from the core gameplay of the original Dark Legacy. 2020 also yielded some character concept art showing male and female versions of certain characters. It's hard to say if gender options for all the characters will ultimately make it into the game, but it's definitely an exciting idea. As far as I'm concerned, the more character options the better. That brings us to 2021, and the year would bring some exciting news as well. In February, Ada made an announcement detailing the game's inventory system. From what I can tell, it sounds like it will be an improved and refined version of the inventory system featured in the GameCube and Xbox versions of the original game. The year also brought about quite a bit of concept art, 3D animations, and the announcement of a demo in development. The Dark Legacy Remastered demo was made available for Patreon supporters in March of 2022, and it would soon become available for everyone in April. The demo allows you to explore a test room full of various items and interactables, a small mock-up of Sumner's Tower, and a test level featuring the game's mechanics and functionality. One of the coolest things featured in this demo is the new and improved dash feature. While there wasn't necessarily anything wrong with Dark Legacy's original dash feature, the remaster's version really stands out, and I'm very excited to see it in action in later stages of the game's development. Overall, the demo does a great job of putting the game's features on display. It also continues the trend in showing that the devs are taking the remaster in the right direction by making small adjustments to the gameplay, but not straying from the spirit of the original Dark Legacy. 2022 additionally brought more character concept art, the beginning of the soundtrack remaster, and the official expanded lore book for the Dark Legacy remaster, the Book of Bennett. The writer, Jesh, describes the book as a document containing the known, implied, and abstract lore of the Gauntlet Midway canon. It contains an incredible amount of information detailing the backstory of the Gauntlet universe that the remaster will be built on, and I think that it will lay the foundation for a far more engaging approach to Gauntlet storytelling. In early 2023, Mr. Chase made the announcement that, due to technical issues, the project would need to be rebuilt in Unreal Engine 5.1. While it was obviously disappointing to hear that the remaster's development would be starting again from square one, there is a silver lining. As Mr. Chase describes, developing the game from scratch would release the technical limitations they ran into with the previous engine, as well as raising the ceiling for the project's overall quality drastically. So, to be honest, this might have been the best thing for the remaster in the long haul. The post also reveals that the devs will soon have access to a tool allowing game levels to be exported into Unreal 5, which would save a lot of time in the rebuild. The rest of 2023 saw updates concerning the expansion of the Book of Bennett, the first mention of the game's strategy guide, the Book of Home, and Geisha Pool's updates on the remastered soundtrack. The end of the year also brought some significant progress reports on the Unreal 5 version of the remaster. That brings us to 2024. And so far we've already seen a sizable update on the remaster systems and functionality, such as character abilities and stats, and damage multipliers and general functionality being added for various items. So what are we looking at as far as a potential release date goes? Well, it's really hard to say, considering that this remaster is a huge undertaking and its developers each have their own personal obligations that should of course come first. What I can tell you is, from what I've been told, the game's development in Unreal Engine 5 is coming along very smoothly, and things seem to be in a much better spot than before. Recent updates have also shown that the devs are full steam ahead on the project. so we'll just have to keep our eyes peeled for more updates on the remaster's progress. I'm very excited to see what they have in store for us this year. I would consider myself a hardcore Dark Legacy fan, and I am very happy with the things I've seen from this team of developers, particularly that they are observing a tremendous level of respect for the original game and its core systems in all aspects of development. Ada and all of the remaster developers have brought life back to the game by creating a space for the community to convene and giving us hope for the future of Dark Legacy's Gauntlet. I will of course have a link to the community Discord in the description below, so if you're a Gauntlet fan, come join the discussion and show your support. I'll also have a link to their official Patreon in the description if you'd like to provide additional support to the development team. As always, thank you for watching. Please drop a like and consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one.